Hello, it's Adam Horne, and I'm a CEO of Tombill Mines. Tombill Mines is based in Geraldton, Ontario, which is approximately 250 kilometers down the Trans-Canada Highway from Thunder Bay. We are right beside and are surrounded by Equinox's Hardrock project, which currently they're doing an awful lot of work on. And the resource of that project is 5.5 million ounces of proven and probable, which will be in their open pit, plus 6.5 million is underground that plunges from their open pit towards our shared border, plus 2 million ounces, 2.1 million ounces were mined there during the 30s to 70s. So our objective is to continue the exploration that Hardrock has done on our property, and we have done that from January to date, where we've demonstrated equivalent lithologies and results to them on our side of the border.
Adam, good to have you back. Spoken Gene, quite a fulsome conversation there. I thought I'll point people to that interview and in fact an article which we did below. Check that out. Mm. Yeah, I know, right?
I didn't see the article, sorry.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Right.
We talked last time about a closology play, okay? You described yourself as a donut, surrounded by the great and the good, and it was obvious then what the potential play was. Has that changed? Are you still trying to set yourself up for Equinox to walk in and buy you out, or have you got other options now?
Well, it's changed that we initially were focusing on really the plunge line from Equinox's Hardrock onto our property, specifically that zone and the other zones, and we've achieved some of that strike over our property with the exploration we've done year to date. But I'd like to add that we are doing a lot more on the surface around Talmora, which is on the northeast part of our property, and it's where we had a past producing mine. And we feel there's additional near surface type mineralization that could be attractive. So we'll know in the next few weeks, and we'll be able to tell the market what we've seen with our drilling program up there. So I'd say we've diversified a little bit from just being a pure play down plunge from the Equinox.
Right. Okay. But I think it's always good to be frank with investors about where or how they're going to make money. So with a story like this, which is a nearology play, closology play,
yeah,
which is a big chunk of your thinking, they've got to be prepared to kind of sit and wait with you as you prepare as best you can to make it attractive as possible to an Equinox of this world. And we spoke to them last week. It would seem that they're investing a lot of time, money, and effort up and around you, but you're not in control of that process. Okay. Can you just talk us through what you've been up to since we spoke? I think you raised $6.5 million back in December. There's another couple of million followed through in March. You've got a certain amount of money. So what do you do with it?
What we've done with it, obviously, is by and large is drilling. I mean, we've continued our program along the strike depth zone and the other minerals, and we have shown equivalent grades, widths, heights with that drilling program to date. It's been somewhat complicated at depth. And then we've allocated some capital to the surface drilling because we think there is some potential around the Talmora mine. So it's all gone into exploration, all that money. And, we're just looking to get results from the assay. So, our objective is to do what our neighbor has done is prove the strike at grade, at the equivalent grade or better, and with similar dimensions, and also look for an open pit opportunity. And that's the additional thing that we didn't discuss last June.
Right. Okay. So what do you mean complicated at depth? You mean it didn't give you mineralizations that it's not good?
No. We're at a similar depth to the depth that our neighbor had. We just continue along with a 12% plunge. So around 1,000 meters.
Right. Okay. But what were the complications?
Complications is just the depth of drilling, and you have fractures underground. We had water cavity in one place, and these are things we put in our press releases. But it's just the natural hurdles you come across when you're drilling at depth.
Right. So I kind of want to dig into how does a company like you, with the resources you have now, lay out your wares on the table for Equinox to come in and take a look? Because you can either say, look, we've raised 6.5 plus 2, $8.5 million. We'll spend that in the most efficient way possible, and then we'll just sit back and we'll let them come to us. Or you have to go out and raise some more money and continue the drilling, continue to understand and be able to present more information. So
yeah, we're going to have to raise more money.
Right, you're doing that.
We're going to have to raise more money because our strike is 2.5 kilometers, in our opinion. That's our hypothesis at this grade. So we obviously need more money to duplicate the program we've done today. And right now we're about 450 meters from our border. So basically, we've gone through 20% of the drilling, and we need to, on the F zone, and then we need to do, as I said, I think we'll do further drilling on the surface and try and get a diversified other source of gold. So what we're trying to get to an inferred resource. So someone, any investor, if they looked at our property, would say, this is a well-resourced. We've done the work to demonstrate there is gold at volume under our property, and it hopefully is similar to what our neighbors enjoy.
Right, but you talked there about the potential of maybe an open pit. Let's have that conversation. You think in some way, shape, or form you could mine this yourself and maybe toll agreement with Equinox instead of selling it to them. You drill a different way for that kind of potential outcome versus a make yourself more attractive to your neighbor type of outcome. So you got two designs there. So how do you play that?
Well, no, I think it's and you have to play it in terms of how you're going to allocate your capital. But I think we're providing two asset streams instead of relying solely on the F zone, one dimensional. We've also, because we have found. Because we have this past producing mine, we believe there could be opportunity in the shallower bits, and we believe we should be a two-dimensional story than a one-dimensional story.
Well, it gives you optionality, and certainly, yes. I guess, some degree of.
And it also gives anyone, if they ever wanted to purchase us, that optionality as well.
Right. Okay. But in terms of a discussion with a potential buyer, if they're the only story in town, that's a very one-sided negotiation. So I can see why you would say that.
Oh, I think they'd be the only one story in town if there wasn't much. There was limited resources underground. If you get the volume, the volume mineralization that we hope to seek, then others will be attractive because economies of scale are available.
Okay, so you presented like some assay results, but how much more is outstanding? How much more information is coming through?
We still have some further drill results on the deeper mineralization, and as I mentioned earlier, we'll have some results in hopefully the next few weeks on the near surface drilling, which was approximately 300 to 400 meters per hole.
Okay, fine. And you've been experiencing delays as well?
Yeah, we used to have a real carte blanche because I think I might have explained it to you last time. We have an assay lab that's 1 mile from our core shack, but it's called Acta Labs, and Acta Labs is quite big, but others in other parts of Canada, and they're big companies, big name, not big company, mid cap, have also discovered probably through Acta Labs that there was some there was some capacity at our plant. So it looks like bags have come from Sudbury and other places afar from quite big companies. So we sort of had a monopoly at one point, but it no longer exists.
Right. And so any other kind of problems that you've been facing? Because I think we had a few people say, there have been delays to the assay results. I think that's fairly normal. Have there been delays to your actual drill program caused by anything?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we have had some complications with the drill program with underlying fractures. We have 2 dikes that were identified under a geologist called Pi some 50 years ago, and they've happened to be there. Even though he discovered these, even though he didn't drill there, no one drilled there, and these dikes have offset the fractures and so forth. And I think we've shown that in our last press release with the way we see the F zone sort of step down a little bit, and we've seen this fractures in the walk. It hasn't altered in a large way, but it's adjusted a bit.
Right. So okay. And sorry to keep bringing it back to Equinox, but
Yeah.
we spoke to them last week. They're applying a lot of effort in up there. What are you seeing? Have you had conversations with them? Are you seeing them working up at your border with them? I mean, what clues are you getting?
Well, the clues are we have not had many discussions with them. People on our team are close to people on the geology side with them. I obviously know Eric Lamontagne, the general manager. We sold bits of land so they can move the highway and put their mill. But what we've seen is they built a huge complex of what I would call ACO homes that can house 600 people with kitchens, and that's all being assembled, like just finishing. I was there last week and I saw it. And so they built that, and I understand that when they purchased the asset from Premier Gold, they had about 20 employees at the Hardrock site. That's now grown to about 120 people. They're doing some infilling drilling, but we'll see. We're all waiting for their official announcement, and I think that will direct give us the best direction of any. They seem to publish updates every 2 or 3 days on their website of what they're accomplishing around the site.
For people who don't know, you're waiting for the official announcement on what?
They put out an official announcement that they're going to construction phase, and that has not yet come out.
Okay, and what's that going to do for you?
Well, I think construction phase suggests they're definitely they're ready to spend the $1.3 billion to construct the mine, construct the mill and the tailing ponds, etc., which will take about 1.5 to 2 years, and then they will start the mine. Obviously, it seemed to have a positive impact on our shares when it was announced in December that they and Orion bought out Centura and Premier Gold. So I can only guess what would happen in that case, but it would be conjecture.
But obviously, there's a lot of excitement in and around there, including with Equinox shares. But they've come off dramatically, as have a lot of, I guess, gold producers, gold developers, etc. As
gold in our sector.
Yeah. So
in the junior.
Yeah. So was that more about the gold price, or was that? Do you think that reaction was around the?
I don't think it's the gold price. I don't think the gold price has changed a lot. I think this is my own personal opinion. I mean, gold price hasn't changed that much from 1700, 1850. It's been pretty static. I just think people reallocate their capital maybe to the US dollar. It's become a stronger currency, and that obviously has probably affected the larger gold companies. And larger gold companies have an impact on us. So if they're suffering, we're going to suffer worst under them. But perhaps investors want to see a little more coming from the larger caps in terms of them developing additional sources of gold rather than just what they currently have. But that, once again, that's just a guess by me.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a different view. No one's quite sure why.
Yeah, I don't think it's gold price, so that's one thing I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess what we would look to you for is some of these assay results coming back and some of these announcements.
Yes.
In the next few weeks, you say?
Oh, on the surface side, yes.
Right.
I think we can have something in the next few weeks.
Right. And how are those going to change your decision making? In fact, how is a gold recovery going to change your decision making if it happens next year? Do you know?
Well, I mean, we've got to do a bit more work in our budgets and our capital allocation. But we'll put the capital. I mean, we need to continue the work and go along the strike and do our surface. The question between allocating capital between those two places is still to be determined. I hopefully we'll have, we'll continue what we've done on the F zone and the deeper and demonstrate the strike, and perhaps we'll see what happens on our surface results. But then we have to make decisions how to allocate capital where's lesser risk and so forth. I mean, at the end of the day, surface work demands less capital and lesser grade to succeed than the deeper stuff. So we really need all the data in front of us to calculate the right decisions.
But when you get to that point, where you're running low on cash and say the market hasn't recovered, you've got some very salutary decisions to make. And it could be, do you know what? Let's just hunker down for now. We'll let the market do its thing, and then we'll come back to this when we can raise money at higher rates, right? Or cheaper rates, effectively.
Yeah.
So
what you're saying is definitely part of our decision making. That's something we have to consider.
Okay. Well, look Adam, we'll sit back. We'll wait for those press releases. Hopefully, we'll speak soon. Hopefully, the market recovers, and hopefully, you guys, can make some of those quite serious decisions that you're going to make. And we'll look out for the Equinox release too.
Matt, thanks a million. I appreciate all the good questions. I think your investors will get a lot out of it. Just to remind you, we're continuing on our program, and hopefully, we'll be able to show you some decent results on our surface program, which extends around our past producing mine, Talmora. We'll continue along the strike of the F zone and surrounding other zones. And, we're at 250 meters. Hopefully we'll extend that a few hundred more meters, that strike. And, and we'll be able to demonstrate to you that we have a decent resource that's equivalent to our neighbor over the next few months.